On this episode, Robbie helps me be the hero.
What? No, I'm the hero.
No, I'm the hero.
No,
I'm Nate Drake.
No, me.
You're Sully.
No, I get to play Mario. I get to be Mario.
That's about what I expected. Good. You're going to love this next part, too. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia. I am a pilot who borrowed Iron Man's gear to rip off Destiny.
What?
Just do your thing.
Oh, okay. Oh my god. All right. My name's Robbie. I'm a blue fairy who has been chosen by the Great Deku Tree to guide the boy who will save all of Hyrule. Hey, listen!
Who were you last week?
I was Alphanod from Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay, yeah. So you said Arc something, right?
Arcanist.
And
yeah.
I was thinking Arc Energy, like
Yeah,
lightning
just like-
and shit.
Yeah, like real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
No,
Final 14.
no. They're summoners, kind of.
Okay. Like Storm from X-Men?
No.
Kind of summoner?
Nope.
Summons storms
No,
with
no.
lightning?
Like
and
summoner Final
electricity?
Fantasy style. Like they summon Carbuncle.
Who's
They
that?
become summoners, like the Ifrit.
Carbuncle, the debunker of used car. Anyway, last week I said that I hadn't played this game, but I was about to. I was Wolf from Payday.
Right, yeah.
And it's a pretty good game. We were talking about it a little bit beforehand. We've been playing it. We got a little group going.
There was a big sale on Payday 2.
Yeah, it was $10.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for $10, I think it's solid. I don't think I would pay more than that for it.
No, it's an old game too.
Yeah, it's a good, just fun. Like, it has progression systems in it and stuff. I have a hard time caring about any of that. It's fun to do bank robberies with friends.
Yes. I will say, though, little side story before we get into our topic.
Yeah.
I was playing Payday 2 on the PlayStation, had a critical error where the game crashed, and I was in a mission with Alec and my brother Jimmy, who's been on the show, and Tony, who's also been on the show.
Yeah.
The four of us running together. I get the blue screen critical error, which happens every now and then. Go back to the menu. I'm like, oh, guys, I got booted. Hold on a sec. My entire save file had become corrupted, and it wasn't, server
Back to
side.
zero, had to do the tutorial opening thing again.
Right.
Whole deal.
I lost. I mean, it could have been worse, but I was level 50. I had some really expensive guns, and I lost everything.
Yeah, so if you do get it, I recommend it. It is fun, especially if you grab it on sale. It's a fun game.
It's fun to play with people.
It's fun to play with friends.
It is pretty horrible.
But if you do,
ourselves.
make sure you back up.
Yeah, and I was just blown. I didn't
Make
even
sure your cloud saves are automatic and all that.
I mean, when's the last time you had a save file just poop,
yeah.
just completely be gone?
Yeah,
Like-
it was kind of jarring. Like, does that still happen? Is that
Yeah.
still a thing?
Yeah, it felt like when you hear about a friend getting mugged or something,
Yeah.
right? Like I was even
back in
stunned.
the day when you had like PS1 memory cards or whatever, it was like they only went bad if someone spilled soda on it or something.
It was still a pretty rare occurrence,
Yeah.
right? So just so you know, we have not ascended. We're not better than we think we are. You could still lose your save file. You need to buy save insurance, and we just so happen to be sitting. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to
episode
peddle
brought to
fear.
you by-
Yeah. But I was stunned. I couldn't believe I lost an entire save file just like that. I know when you start messing, modding, whatever,
Yeah.
it's more likely to happen. But just a
This
normal,
was just a straight
Yep.
we were just running a mission, nothing fancy.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Moving on.
This is a fun little tragic story.
We got a piece of fan mail.
Yeah. Okay.
Pirate, our buddy Pirate Kaizoku. If you missed our last episode, what was it about?
Boy, I wasn't here that week.
Oh, cross-platforming, and that's what he wrote in about. He said, right now it is a complete role reversal of last generation, where Xbox was scooping up all the exclusives and refusing to work with Sony. I completely agree that it is just a behavior of the market leader. It feels different this time, where hopefully it's shifting to cooperation to some extent, which benefits the consumer. I think Sony will have to concede a little bit, but they don't have to. But I don't think the walls will come down. I also agree that if Xbox finds themselves in the role of market leader next gen, then they will behave accordingly.
Yeah, so first, I would say that this old-fashioned I'm drinking is delicious. The Pendleton with the ginger beer, instead of soda water is a good choice. Second of all, that's a great point. And I know we talked about that in the episode. I don't ever really expect, altruistic behavior from a corporation, right? Because, they ultimately are there to make money. That's how capitalism works. I would like to see more of this type of behavior, but by no means do I think it's ever going to completely open up, break wide open.
I do think... Well, I would hope that Sony would concede at least on the Epic account Fortnite issue.
Yeah.
I think PR-wise, it's the smart choice. And, with it being the biggest game, I don't know. But with it being the biggest game, and they probably hold the biggest slice of console players as well. So,
yes.
I don't know.
Absolutely. And
I
I'm
really
sure
don't know which way that will go.
If
It's
the shoe was
bad
on the other
PR
foot,
for sure, but
they probably wouldn't play ball. It's interesting, I think, just real quick, I mean, Nintendo playing so nicely with everyone.
Yeah.
Nintendo's doing great. They don't really have to. They have their own market.
And historically, they haven't really crossed anything over.
Right. So like with all this cross-platform stuff, not only is Nintendo opening up their stuff to like Ubisoft and other third-party developers, they're also playing nice with cross-platform, which is just crazy to me.
It is really crazy.
And kind of a good example of, I think, maybe defying what you would expect from the trend, because they have no reason really to share their player base. People have been crazy about the Switch.
Well, yeah, they have, but the Wii U wasn't great. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they learned some lessons now that the Switch is doing so well. Maybe they're thinking about things differently, just that they should not try to be so isolationist, because that's how they was for that whole Wii U generation. It was very bubbled, and in the end, it didn't work out well for them. But I don't know.
So while I don't expect any big bouts of altruism from these corporations, I still am excited to see these trends, and I'm a little bit optimistic that we'll still see some pretty cool projects like what we've seen so far.
Anytime I think though, like, Sony probably will, I'm like, oh, maybe not. Like, either way, I could see them holding those accounts and being like, screw you, we've got the biggest, like, what is Epic gonna do? You know?
Yeah, nothing.
They're holding Epic hostage as much as they're holding those individual accounts hostage.
And what are those individuals gonna do? Go get rid of their PlayStations?
Right, yeah.
Probably
not. Likely.
And even if they did, how much
exclusives that just got announced, it's not gonna happen. So they are in a strong position to, but it's gonna cause some goodwill blowback kind of stuff, some anti-goodwill.
Right.
Loss of goodwill?
Refusal
of goodwill? Anyway.
Loss of goodwill.
That's what I meant.
And also maybe not a great way to start the next generation, right? Because if everyone's like, well, I really like how Microsoft is doing things, they're more likely to be like...
Even then, though, even if they're playing nice and doing well and people like them as a company, like you said before, the reason most people choose their console of choice is because of exclusive lineup.
Yeah.
So I think even if Sony is a douchebag for the end of this generation, Microsoft would have to come out with a really good line of exclusives to be like, oh, okay, I would switch over to Microsoft.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, obviously,
come down
next year, like what is it that each console is going to bring to the table? But
I mean, because really, people are predicting 2020-ish will be kind of the big, so it seems like we should be hearing whispers of what those consoles will start to look like by next E3.
Yeah, next E3, I bet there'll be big reveals.
Yeah, some teases and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll do full reveals yet, do you think?
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to see. But anyway, thanks for writing in, Pirate. That was a great point.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
So this episode, we're actually going to kind of do a more fun topic. This was something Alec came up with, and I'm kind of surprised we haven't really talked about it much.
Well, we've talked, in previous episodes, we've sort of isolated character types within games and talked about them. So like heroes or best openings of a game or best romances, best villains. And we realized we hadn't talked about sidekicks.
Yeah.
And this was like a good week to just kind of do something a little different, a little fun.
So let's start by maybe defining what we think of as sidekicks. And maybe, because there's a lot of, if you like go online and start looking up best, worst, whatever, sidekicks, you'll see that some people choose things that I would consider more of like an NPC, even an active NPC, versus, and I would, to go the other extreme. So on one hand, you have characters that don't really join you in combat. They maybe help push the story along, but they don't actually assist you in your normal mechanics progressing through the game.
Yeah, and in lists, there's Claptrap is listed as a lot of them, but he's not like out there fighting alongside you and those kinds of things. But he's a really funny comic relief. He guides you towards quests. He does all those other things. And so I can see the argument for sidekick, but he's not the same type of sidekick as like Atreus from God of War.
Right. So then, and then in the other extreme, in a game where you're playing multiple heroes, like Final Fantasy, or more of a traditional RPG, where there's kind of a main character, but you, like in Chrono Trigger, you mostly control Chrono, but it's all about all those other characters. I wouldn't consider the rest of the roster sidekicks either, because the story isn't just Chrono's story, or whatever. That's just an example.
Well, and sometimes even within that roster of quote sidekicks, there's really usually one or two that are actually like the right-hand best friendy type person of that. So like when I think of, at least earlier in the game, like Final Fantasy VII, Barrett is much more sidekicky to who Cloud is than anyone else.
But later in the game, he's not.
Right.
He kind of like falls by the... So to me at least, I don't consider... Final Fantasy VII is a good example.
Yeah.
I just consider that all characters.
Yeah.
Even though the story is kind of focused on Cloud, I don't consider Tifa or Red 13...
No, he's definitely the hero or the protagonist. But yeah, it's hard to pin down a sidekick.
Yeah. So for me, where I start considering sidekicks would be something more like a game, like a BioWare game, right? Like Mass Effect. Even though the other characters are strong, you are playing Commander Shepard. You customize Commander Shepard, you design Commander Shepard, you decide his gender. So all the BioWare games, I'm cool with the other characters being considered sidekicks.
Right.
It is their story and how you change your roster, whatever. So that's kind of how I would define that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that point. So let's break those down again real quick.
Yeah.
The NPC who's sort of
an active NPC, but never actually.
But they guide you on quests, and they maybe.
But not. They're still a little more passive, right?
They're not like out on the field with you, going through the mechanics of
not
the game.
Not like Navi or something like that, right?
So, but then you have something like, was it Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite? The girl.
I would consider her more
she would open portals and she'd throw you ammo and health and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And she was like a highly active.
I would consider that like a sidekick.
You kind of have those two. You have this other blend though, I think, with like something like Banjo-Kazooie, right? Where Kazooie pops out of the backpack and you're controlling the sidekick, or Ratchet and Clank with Clank, the little robot, where it is the sidekick and it's clear who the hero is, but it's a very they're not just active and helping, you actually control them. I think there's another third category there.
I agree with that, but I still consider those sidekicks.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely.
I would consider Tails from Sonic and Tails
how you interact with them as the player with the hero.
Yeah.
There's like sort of those are the three groups I would sort of put them in.
Sure, I was more listing like the extremes, and I think the other stuff kind of falls
somewhere in. But
but everything else in the middle, I would count sidekicks. And there are extremes of that. Like you're playing Donkey Kong Country, Diddy Kong's running along beside you. In the new Donkey Kong Country Freeze, they have functions, even though you just switch between the two and control them both. I still consider those sidekicks. You're playing, especially when you control them. If you're controlling them, they're helping you solve problems. I consider that sidekicks.
Right.
So from there, I think you want to talk about like what makes a good sidekick, and we can give some examples, or do you want to talk about some of your favorites?
Yeah. So I think the broad stroke of what makes a good one is, first of all, that they're helpful, that they're not in your way, right? Like on some of these lists, I saw Natalia from GoldenEye from 64, and I had totally forgotten about that, but I saw all these clips and I was like, oh yeah, like PTSD came back.
I know,
like,
same.
Get out of the way, like for just standing right in the door and getting lit up. And
So I think
not helpful.
One of the first things that's important for a good sidekick, they have to make your life easier. Whether it's like the Familiar in Symphony of the Night, he doesn't do a lot, but he attacks enemies, he flips switches, he finds treasure for you. Those are useful things. That's a good sidekick. You want to feel like the fact that you brought them along enriches your life. It's not your gameplay experience is better because of the sidekick, not worse, right?
Yeah, and the Elizabeth from BioShock, that is like, she made a ton of lists, and I totally agree with that. Like, you'd be in combat and you'd turn and like grab ammo that she threw to you or whatever. Like, super help. You're like glad she's there. She's making your life so easy.
Yeah. On that note, actually, one of the sidekicks I want to bring up, when I didn't play the old Monster Hunter games, but I did play Monster Hunter World, and you get this, I thought, annoying cat sidekick.
Yeah.
Not annoying now. I love they're called palicos, and I love mine now. But like when the game first started and they were showing cutscenes, I was like, oh my god, this dopey cat that says Meowster and all these stupid things. Yeah. I was not into it. But that damn cat is so useful, will tank the boss for you, will heal you before you die, finds extra loot, and you can make cool badass gear for him. Mine looks like Mega Man and Monster Hunter. Like, really, really useful.
Oh, I've never played it, but like I've seen screenshots of people with their little sidekick thing that has all these crazy outfits and all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah.
Those are not super story rich, not particularly good but characters. Very helpful. Yeah. In fact, I found myself, I would prefer 2 humans and 2 palicos, often to 4 humans, because the palicos were so useful that I played with dumber humans, real life players. I would have traded them for the cat. See, that's a good example. That is a good example of like somebody who makes your life better. That moment when the monster's about to rip your head off and then it heals you, you're like, I could kiss this cat right now. Like it comes at such clutch moments. It was programmed pretty well. Yeah. I was impressed. And it's not just, I mean, they do combat. You can unlock, I think I unlocked giant bombs that mine through a monster. Really cool stuff. Yeah. Of an amazing example.
And I think that's part of it too, is when you can upgrade and progress your sidekick in a meaningful way. Like when you have some sort of input and say and control over how they're going to help you. I think that's a good feature.
Actually, yeah, well. that was going to be one of my other points. I think the best sidekicks grow with you in strength. Right? They level up with you. They get cooler gear than, maybe not as cool as yours, but they progress, right? And you feel like, I think it's really disappointing if you get to the end of the game and you're like, you're a badass, but you're like, why do I even bring this guy?
Yeah, dragging this other dipshit along the whole time. Yeah.
It was useful at first, but you're still using the starting Glock pistol or whatever, and you're just like, dude, come on, we've been through so much together.
Even Diablo 3 did that pretty well. You could have your person with you or whatever, and what did they have, like the scoundrel and stuff?
The scoundrel,
but you could change out their gear. They
leveled up alongside you
actually quite a bit in Diablo 3.
Yeah, and they got new abilities. Yeah. They were pretty useful. Maybe not as useful as like, you know, a full.
And you typically don't see that too much in like really story heavy games. It's more like RPG, loot, shooty, whatever kind of stuff. But like, the new God of War is actually an excellent example where the boy, this is pretty spoiler free, I think. Stop me.
So I'll say, I don't know how far I am. Quarter through the game?
It's long, dude.
I've finally gotten some more time, so I'm starting to play it a lot more.
Yeah, so the point here, though, is Atreus, the relationship between Atreus and Kratos.
Is the son.
Yeah, Kratos is sort of like, you're just a weak boy and you can't do anything, and Atreus is like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, trust me,
I'm
Dad.
going to prove myself.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But then that progresses in a really cool way across the game, and he has his own skill trees and all kinds of stuff. So then if you were to take playing with Atreus at the beginning of the game versus playing with him at the end of the game, it's like night and day. By the time you get to the end of the game, Atreus is this really competent warrior that you're like really glad to have by your side that does some really cool shit. And I loved the way they did that arc where it wasn't just you're dragging this boy through this adventure. Atreus grows up alongside you and gets stronger alongside you. They did a fantastic job with that aspect of it.
Yeah, I can say even from the amount that I've progressed, like he's already doing cool combos. Yeah. I have like combos where if I pop him up, he'll like lunge at him in the air or he'll stun people.
And
I've already had clutch moments where he kind of saved my bacon in a fight, and I was like, this kid's useful, Kratos, lighten the fuck up.
There was a couple moments where I was just like drawing on the floor, like in the middle of a combat sequence where I was like, oh man, I have not seen a sidekick do that kind of shit in a long time. The one exception would be maybe the Arkham series where you can switch back and forth. I think it was an Arkham Knight where you're fighting alongside somebody and then you could switch over and then do the combo together. That was a little different, but
the fights with like Nightwing and stuff.
But there were moments where your jaw was on the ground. You're like, that combo was so freaking cool. That made me so glad to have a sidekick with me.
Yeah, I'm excited to level more Atreus. In my game,
it gets good, man. It gets really good.
This isn't that spoilery. You can see that there's a tree of magic. My Atreus doesn't know magic yet. I'm very excited for whenever that happens or however that plays out. But even just with the bow, he's done some really useful stuff.
Yeah.
He's one of the most satisfying sidekicks I've had in a really long time.
I would agree with that. And I think, I mean, obviously the new God of War ripped a lot of pages out of the book of Naughty Dog stuff, I think. And if you paid attention to any of the dev stuff when The Last of Us was being made, they did a ton of dev stuff, like interviews and things, where they talked about how much time and thought and effort they put into making Ellie a meaningful, like she doesn't get in the way, she can handle herself. Like if you're in the middle of combat, she'll jump on somebody's back and stab them for you. She'll, when she has the sniper rifle and she actually kills things. It's not this like token.
We'll come back to that later.
Sidekicks have jumped up quite a bit, I feel like, since in this more recent era of Naughty Dog and the new God of War and stuff. Yeah,
I think
in the narrative world, at least.
Kind of my third thing about sidekicks, at least for my favorite sidekicks, are that they enrich the story. This isn't always going to happen. My Palico brings nothing to the Monster Hunter world. There's not really a story, though. And I mean, if you're really into the lore, that's fine. I know some people are into it, but let's be honest, we're there to just carve up giant monsters. Yeah. So Palico is not like some rich, he's actually my fucking son, and, you know, it's nothing like that. But some of the best side characters, I think, and there's a lot of them, right? Like Atreus, Ellie, obviously is on the list. Nadine in Uncharted Lost Legacy was awesome. Yes. And that was another good example of like a progression. She didn't learn new abilities, but their teamwork got better. Their synergy. They started
to trust each other more narratively, and then you saw a kind of a reflection of that.
It was cooler stuff in combat. Yeah. And then in the main Uncharted 4 between Sam and Nathan, or
Sully was always kind of great, and he always walked that line of, he wasn't always super helpful in combat, but you just loved his dialogue and stuff in the middle of things like so much that it's like you don't want to not have him there.
Well, make sure you take him out, kid. And I liked that he was unapologetic when he didn't help. Oh, I'm not climbing that.
You got that one, kid.
Yeah. I'll wait out here. Good luck in there. Like, I was like, okay, I can appreciate that. He does that first scene of Uncharted 1, basically, right? When you like fall down in the pit and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And he's very unapologetic. You know what you got. And I can appreciate that. But even in games like BioWare games, those characters enrich the story a lot, right? It's a huge part. I know you haven't played Mass Effect, but like the characters' arcs and their progressions, you can romance them, but some of them, but that's not even really what I mean. There's so much that comes out of the story. BioWare does such a good job of enriching their lore. Like, for example, in Inquisition, Iron Bull is one of the characters. He's voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr., which is just a fun little fact. He talks about you throughout the game in the bars, how he's done a lot of things, but he's never taken down a dragon. If you take him with you to fight a dragon, when the dragon's landing, he's like, God damn it, boss, you are the best. I love this job. And like has dialogue.
There was a contextual meaning to it.
Right. And then post, he talks about it. It's like, yeah, I've killed a dragon, and like brags about it. Remember that time we took down that dragon? Like, does really cool little things like that make the story so much richer. And BioWare does that with everything. Even in their Star Wars MMO. Like, they changed the story depending on who you
blows
had with
my
you.
mind, man. That's so much work to like, you took him on this dragon thing, so now that's going to play out across this way for the rest of the game.
And it's minor, but it's there.
That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so BioWare to me, probably some of the best. Well, just because it's so broad, right? Like in a game like God of War or a Naughty Dog game, that's the story. It's about Joel and Ellie. It's about Kratos and Atreus, right? But what's crazy to me is in the BioWare games, I have a completely different experience than you. You have a completely different experience.
Well, you actually get a say in how you bond with those sidekicks, yeah.
You can piss them off.
Yeah.
They can like not like you at the end of Dragon Age 2. Some of them turn against you. Mm-hmm. You can kill some of them off in Mass Effect if you don't do things right. Like that to me is just such a next level still of how it impacts the story and richness. But not to detract from games like God of War, the Naughty Dog.
But they are just different experiences and different ways of using that character type, that sidekick type.
But the main point is it makes things rich. Like it makes the whole story better. I would shape like my playstyle around those NPCs. If I thought this story would involve a certain race or nationality, like I'd be like, oh, that guy's from that country. I'm going to bring him along or not. He's going to get mad if I carve up all his countrymen. You know what I mean? Like it shaped the whole way I played that game.
Right.
That's cool. That's a powerful, enriching experience. And sidekick, when you have something like that, almost feels like too little. They're not the main character, but they're so much like so integral to the story that
I would agree with that. So helpful,
enrich the story.
And then the other one I would say too is a lot of good sidekicks are memorable, whether or not they're like helpful or really enriching to the story, right? Like
they should be.
They're memorable for either good reasons or really bad reasons in the case of like Resident Evil 4. But but there's a cool opportunity there to just have like the sidekick can also just be, even if they're in combat and helping you somewhat or whatever, they can be the comic relief, or they can be the sounding board when you're making a hard choice as the player, or those kinds of things as well.
Yeah, those in-game, in-moment dialogue things are sometimes some of the best memories of those sidekicks. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the claptrap is incredibly memorable and hilarious and stuff.
Yeah,
even though he's like not really that helpful to you could easily be on that planet and find vaults and shit without a claptrap. Yeah. But it's much more fun to do it with him.
That's true. I do think Claptrap, just side note, I think he is like a DLC purchasable character.
Oh, that you can play as, or
I think you can actually play as him.
Interesting.
But I think that was only like the prequel. You know,
I played just the first two, and what I really
in my
remember,
opinion, that's all that's worth playing.
What I really remember distinctly though is like when you get off the bus thing at the very beginning of Borderlands 1, and
and he has a lot of big moments in 2 as well, right? He's like always opening gates for you. And,
he shows up and just like does one little thing, and he's like,
he is a great character, but I still consider him just like a great NPC. So when we do our NPC episode, he'll go up on top of the list. Yeah. Let's talk about bad sidekicks, some of the worst.
In my mind, when I think of bad sidekicks, I immediately think of Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4.
My God.
Like, we still jokingly do the Leon!
Yeah, the squawking, help!
If someone's being like an obnoxious shit, or we're trying to just troll each other while we're playing, we still use that because it's so annoying and so incompetent sidekick thing.
Yeah, we were roommates when RE4 first came out, and I remember sitting in my room just hearing, Leon, help! Leon! And you being like, God damn it, shut up! Yeah, so the worst sidekicks, I apologize for the strong language, never shut the fuck up. Just shut up already. Yeah. Like, they say the same things
Resident
over
Evil
and over.
Was bad about that for 4, 5, and 6, if I remember.
And it just makes you want to mute the sound, because there's no richness. It's like one thing if they're like, hey, please help me, or they changed up the dialogue, but it's like 2 lines over and over, and Navi.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was like on best sidekick list, and I was like, I hated Navi.
Oh, I couldn't stand her. Over here! And when they, did you play Twilight Princess?
Yeah, that was the one on the original Wii. It was a launch title, right? Yes, I did.
Like, the princess that is with you the whole time, much better. Has useful, or quietly, or makes just like sounds, or sometimes
it made it sound through the controller and stuff sometimes too, to draw your attention to things. And
But it did not make you want to smash your controller or kill yourself. Like, oh my God. So yes, one of the worst things is the same thing over and over and over again.
Natalia is another good one where it's not, she didn't ever say anything, but she just like stood in the way of fucking everything. That's
Yes.
like another one of those sins.
So I would say, one of my next ones, they don't do anything. They and they don't not just not do anything. They always have to be rescued.
Yes.
Not only are you already fighting hordes of
They
zombies.
don't do anything, but it's your job to protect them while they're being a moron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which Ashley from Resident Evil 4 definitely falls into that.
She's like, hey, cult members, and just waddle up to him and remember they throw her over the shoulder. Matalo.
Yeah. Oh my God. Or Slippy from Star Fox. Help me, Fox. That's the 64 where she actually spoke.
Really.
He spoke. But oh my God, how did that dude even qualify as a pilot? You're on like the elite mercenary squad of the galaxy, and you can't just fly and not. Oh my God, dude. Slippy. I wished he would die. I would be relieved if you remember in 64 they could get shot down.
Yeah.
And they'd be out of the fight for a while.
Yeah.
I was relieved. I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh yeah, I used to let him die.
Oh yeah. I don't want to hear him blaring on my screen. Reed, Fox, I could use your head. Just shut up, Slippy. Like, I've got enough on my plate right now. You know what I mean? Oh my God.
That's a good one.
Slippy, just stay the fuck home. Like, just don't even you're fired. You're fired. If I could fire people, I would fire Slippy. And then, of course, Natalia. I think she falls into that a lot, right? Because she got shot. Like,
you would shoot her because she would step into the doorway where guys were like flooding through at the very last second.
Step
She'd
right
be
in front of your gun.
Right, yeah, and you would just mow her down yourself.
And you could kill her.
On accident.
God, yeah, she was horrible. I had forgotten how bad it was until we started watching videos for this. I would say third thing, less severe, but still really pisses me off, is that they follow you around, carry a gun, never use it.
Yeah.
And it seems unique to shooters. Left 4 Dead.
It was so fun if you had 4 people, but the AI was not good on that game.
There's something unique to shooters. I don't know if it's like they don't know how to program them to not turn into like Terminator, or if they're like shoot and then they just go nuts, but
I can't tell if it's laziness or lack of resources or meeting deadline on the part of, for some reason the developers just don't do it.
I want to feel like it's got to be somewhat laziness, right? Because in the Uncharted games, they're pretty useful. They'll shoot guys off you. They'll save your bacon.
Yeah.
Ellie would snipe pretty well.
Yeah.
Like she was, I mean, those are third persons, but
I wonder, I mean, in playtesting as a developer, right? Like where the line is where being helpful versus you're actually getting in the way of the player's experience. That has to be sort of a hard sweet spot to hit in a way that you feel enhanced by it. You don't feel like, hey, that was my kill. Like, cause your sidekick took it or some shit.
Kill stealing, son of
you
a
felt
bitch.
like you were working with your sidekick to accomplish a goal. And I don't know why shooters do that.
Shooters seem like they have a real problem with it. I was trying to think and nothing came to mind of like good shooter companions, except maybe if you count like Fallout or something like that. Those do okay.
Even then though, I didn't like Nick Valentine from Fallout 4 was like a really cool character, but I don't remember him being like super, like he was active in combat, but I don't remember him like taking things out and being like, gosh, he's a good sidekick.
Yeah.
He was just a really badass sidekick narratively.
Yes.
And you still had to kill everything, even though he had a gun.
Yeah, the dog was more useful. In fact, one of my points was just, I feel like Bethesda has never quite nailed it. They've gotten closer, and in like Fallout 4...
The dog is more useful, I think.
So here's my theory on the dog, because I thought about that too. I was like, the dog's good. I think because those games are kind of glitchy, and when a human runs off in the middle of a fight, you're like, that son of a bitch. When your dog does it, you're like, oh, well, he's a dog. Like, it feels naturally. But the problem is, all the humans are just acting like dogs.
Yeah.
And so when a dog does it, you're
don't
like,
notice
oh, well,
it.
He's a dog. He probably smelled something. Maybe he's investigating something.
I will say Far Cry 5, the sidekicks are actually pretty good. And Boomer, the dog,
Boomer, our
is
buddy,
actually pretty good. He'll tag hunting targets around you and stuff, which is helpful in that game.
We've been doing a playthrough of that, and I haven't quite gotten far enough. I like the pilot guy. We just unlocked him. Yeah. He seems cool.
He'll fly over and bomb things for you and stuff.
I could see that. Far Cry seems better.
Like Metal Gear Solid 5 did it with a dog too. A dog would auto-mark stuff for you. I think that's one of those cases where if the human AI sidekick just sucks, like it's better to just have a dog who marks shit and gets out of the way. You know what I mean?
Just like real life.
That was good.
Yeah, but I think, and then maybe that's just easier to program to be like, look, NPC, shoot that thing. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna shoot that thing. I was impressed with like Takedowns in Wildlands and some of the Tom Clancy games.
Yeah, you do the sync mark and then they would all fire at one time and take a group out.
It was
great. Yeah,
but again, it seems like just left to their own devices.
Other than that, though, like it doesn't make a lot of. You're sneaking in and they're like running in front of the enemies. And let's go quiet.
Yeah, you're like crouched behind a wall. He's just standing there, and it's like not detected,
which is better because because they're so stupid. You wouldn't want to get found out every time they...
You wouldn't be able to get through a single stealth mission. I'm okay with that. It still sometimes kind of breaks down the...
What is it called?
It's hard
suspended disbelief.
Yeah, suspended disbelief.
Yeah. As a general rule, as we move toward wrapping up, if I have the choice to not have a sidekick, I generally do. Like, I played with the Far Cry sidekicks and stuff. I was like, okay, some of these are actually pretty good, but I would rather go solo and bow and arrow everything. I pretty much, if I'm playing alone, I don't use sidekicks given the choice. Fallout 4, I did the Nick Valentine as my sidekick just to get, like, the quest chain where you go do some shit with him.
Yeah.
I'd never use sidekicks in Fallout if I didn't have to.
Maybe I just don't have enough friends in real life, but I get really into my sidekicks in the game. Really? And I spend a lot of time doing their aesthetics, changing, like... their skill sets and making them look perfect. Like even in Final Fantasy 14, you can have your chocobo fight by your side.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time and in-game money, not real money. They don't have microtransactions, which is anyway. And I'll be like, well, I'm going to spend a bunch of stuff and get this new armor. No, I don't really like that. I'm going to change it up. Or they have this whole feather dyeing system that's a little complicated, but I look up all the calculators and make them the perfect shade of red.
You have to get ingredients to get the right dye.
And they're expensive. They were, at least when it first came out. It's not as expensive now, but so I've spent a lot of time because I don't know if I just don't have any friends, but I'm like, yeah, these are my people. Then when I roll out, I'm like, we're unified. We look like a squad. We're gonna kick ass.
Yeah.
I get really into that, and I do it in all the games.
In Wildlands, people, I think they added that in a recent patch, where they're going to or something, where you can customize the look of all your squad, and people went fucking nuts for it. And I was like,
did they add that? I didn't know that.
The hell? Yeah. Okay.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so people
I
like
can roll
you.
4 predators because I can
like you, or it was highly requested and the developers are considering it. It was something like that, but the community was like, yes, of course, why don't we have that? And I was like, why the hell would you, I was like, why the hell would you want that?
All predators. How badass is I can't even get you to put on a predator mask when we roll together. Come on, you gotta have uniformity.
I used it for a little while.
After I stopped using it. And then I was like, we doing the predator mask? And you're like, no, I'm not using it.
I'm doing it, you're not.
You're Mr. Hipster over here. But when I can program my friends... They listen
Robotics
to me,
is going to be
and
a
they
very
respect me.
Era to you,
I can't wait to have robot friends that do what I tell them. I do get really into the aesthetic, so I appreciate those types of details. I did it in Dragon Age Inquisition. I spent a lot of time being like, well, I like this model and this color, and we're all going to look like Grey Wardens together, and I got really into that. So I appreciate those types of things.
I appreciate a good sidekick when they're there, right? Like if Nick Valentine was a required thing, through a whole Fallout DLC, I would have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But given the choice, I can leave this guy at home. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go sneak around the Badlands alone. Thank you very much. Yeah.
No, see, I like the heavy armored paladin guy from the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh, I hate that guy so much.
What?
I hate the Brotherhood.
Well, not the companion you get. Remember?
Yeah, but he was part of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, bro, we're gonna roll. I'm gonna paint our
Danik
armor
or something like that.
Paint our armor with the flame job. Obviously, we're the flame job heavy armor dudes, and I spent a lot of time getting our look for our squad. I can confess that, right? These are gamers listening. I can't be the only one. They put that in the game for a reason.
No, I think I'm in the minority.
I think so
not
too.
Caring about that shit.
Yeah, I know Ashley spends more time doing that than actually playing the game.
Yeah,
but I don't do that. But
I'm
it is
more
important
minimalist in real life, though.
You are.
Anytime I play games with other people, I'm like, damn, their stuff's all tricked out, and they have these crazy masks, and my guy's black suit,
default starting
monochrome shader, whatever.
Dude, your guy in Wildlands looked so boring.
Yeah, he had a t-shirt and jeans and a predator mask. For
you had a cigar. You're like, look, I got wild.
Yeah,
put a cigar in my mouth.
Yeah, it was literally jeans and t-shirt,
and
no
cigar.
Gloves, no.
Well, that'd be just crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to be too flashy with your gloves. With your black tactical
That's really
gloves.
how I feel.
Yeah, I believe it. Anyway, so those are the things I like. So my favorite things in a sidekick, just to summarize, they make your life easier, they enrich the story, and they should grow with your character and strength, whether that's their gear gets cooler, their spells get cooler, or whatever. I want us to feel like we're a team.
And if they're nothing else, they should at least be helpful.
Yes. That's an order. The most important thing is if they look
Above all
cool
else,
but are squawking at me and dying in gunfire, I will roll solo. I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah.
I'm not taking Ashley from Resident Evil 4, even if she looks great and we have matching armor, okay? Not bringing her. Not happening.
Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you'd like to support us, you can go to patreon.com/Save Every Universe to become a patron.
If you have any questions for us or you want to tell us what your favorite or least favorite sidekicks are, you can reach us at saveeveryuniverse@gmail.com.
BT from Titanfall 2, that's who I meant to talk about too. That was really good.
Oh, BT was really good.